if they show that they are good stewards of the money, they will be
So you're teaching them like the
blessed.
richest man in Babylon.
Exactly like the richest man in Babylon. My advice to them is do not enable bad behavior. Do not reward bad behavior. Don't give them money to buy food. Buy the food and put it in there so that they have it.
You're not able to enter into contract law, which opening a savings account is, in any state in the union when you're not an adult. Trust may transfer to her the whatever, but she doesn't suddenly become the owner of $1 million at 16 years old or whatever this amount of money is.
If she's mentally ill, giving it to her at any age is not going to be good.
Misusing this money is harming you and the future you, and I just love you too much to let you do that. And
So it's very important who you pick to be the trustee, and very important that you have conversations with them about, hey, if I'm passed away, here's what I want you to do with this money, and this is what I want you to do. This is how you use your discretion. And you've really got to trust them. That's why the thing is called a trust. Okay, so this one. Should I give my 16-year-old the money that belongs to her?
No.
It depends on what it is. What if it's money that she earned from working her job at Chick-fil-A?
That's different.
What if it's an inheritance of $3 million from the deceased father?
No.
Absolutely not. All right. And these are the important things of why it's important to have a will and it's important to have a estate plan, because otherwise at 18, guess what happens? She gets this money, whatever it is. But all right, let's see what it is. I wonder, is child actor maybe? Could be child YouTube star that's making millions. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
We'll find out.
My daughter is 15 and has recently experienced some mental health challenges. I'm concerned about her ability to...
Mental health challenges.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Then no.
You may as well burn the money.
Right.
It would be dangerous to give someone with mental problems money like that at 15. Absolutely not. She'll wind up on drugs or who knows what.
Right.
She'll get swindled. She'll get kidnapped. She'll get sold into slavery, which, by the way, happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
I can see where this is going. Let's see what they say.
To manage the money her grandparents have been investing for her.
Okay, grandparents have been investing for her. This is interesting because I'm about to face this problem in about 10, 15 years. About 12 years.
Don't you put it into a trust and it states like at this age, like, because what I've seen is like people say, if you go to college, you can have this money at this age. If you do not go to college, you can't have this money until that age.
You can
I've
create
seen people
a trust
do
and do
stuff
things like that. And really,
yeah.
it all depends on how much money it is.
Right.
So it all depends on how much money it is, because there's different things that you do.
I've seen people, like if it was like $2 million, they say you have to be 25 years old before you can have it.
You shouldn't give a 25-year-old $2 million.
I don't agree either.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that if they know that this money is coming, it changes their life too. Mm-hmm. I'd rather them never know about it, which would be ideal. And I would have certain conditions of if this. By the way, I do have that about my kids, and Daniel knows about it. We've written out exactly. I guess if he watches the podcast, they'll see it, and I guess I'll tell him here. But the only way that they get it is if there's a certain amount of money in their retirement accounts, as I have been trying to teach them and encourage them to do, which, by the way, none of them have done it yet. And if they don't, they will get none of the lawyer Dana fortune. None. And it is a substantial loss. But if they show that they are good stewards of the money, they will be
So you're teaching them like the
blessed.
richest man in Babylon.
Exactly like the richest man in Babylon.
Did they read the book?
I've given it to them.
My guess is no.
You know what? You can assign the homework. But whether they do or not, I've even sent them the links to the audiobook to see whether they're doing it or not. And on Jonathan's 25th birthday, I will know for sure whether or not he is going to die poor or die rich, because he will either have begun implementing this, or if he hasn't started by 25, he's not going to make it. He won't do it. He'll be set in his ways. Not that somebody at 25 can't do it, but somebody who's been exposed to what I have been exposing him to by 25, it's a real good indicator.
Manage the account, but it will transfer to her when she turns 16.
16?
Should I allow the account to...
No, you should get a guardianship over her.
Right.
and stop that from happening. If she has mental illness,
Right.
you must get a guardianship. This is Texas, but this would be my recommendation in the state of Texas.
Transfer to her, but hide the login details, or transfer them.
No, you don't transfer it to
Yeah.
her and hide the login details or do any of that stuff. You'd be above board with this stuff.
Well, couldn't she just call the company
Yes,
and get
she
it all
could.
reset
Yeah,
because
but
it's
it
in
depends
her
on how
name?
it depends on how mentally ill she is. But yeah, and then when she finds out that you did that, now you've
Yeah.
struck a wedge in between the two of you, and you're the evil person, as opposed to we got a guardianship. The judge decided. You can always blame it on the judge.
Right.
The money into my name until she turns 21. Both feel
If she's mentally ill, giving it to her at any age is not going to be good.
Right.
morally wrong and maybe illegal. Is there a legal way to ensure she can't access it until she's 21?
So this is not an appropriate question to be calling into the Dave Ramsey Show to ask.
No. This
It's
is
an
a
appropriate
lawyer
question for a lawyer. Yes.
One. So Dave, my just operating rule is never lie to your kids. This is complex because her child's obviously struggling with some challenges here. I don't know the legality.
Because he's not a lawyer, he needs to talk to a lawyer.
You've,
Right.
you've probably seen
Dave
this question more than I have. I don't know why you can hide something that transfers to a kid, but also this kid's a minor.
Yeah. So it doesn't transfer to the kid. You're confused somewhere.
Okay.
All bank accounts, all mutual funds for people under 21 have a custodian on them, an adult.
Or 18 or 21?
18, 21, depending on your state, whatever. Okay. But I mean, you're not 21 if it's mutual funds. You're not able to enter into contract law, which opening a savings account is, in any state in the union when you're not an adult.
There you go. Yep.
That's correct.
And so now the trust may transfer to her, whatever, but she doesn't suddenly become the owner of $1 million at 16 years old or whatever this amount of money is.
I would want to know the amount of money. I already do want to know the amount of money. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
If we're talking about $1,000, I'm not going to be so concerned. If we're talking about $1 million, I'm going to be
Right.
real concerned.
It just
Right.
doesn't happen. Now, but I'm with John. Just tell her the truth. Hey, I'm walking with you through these mental health things, and you don't need the pressure of this right now. The money is yours. It'll be there for you. You'll have access to it when you are healthy, and you are able to make good decisions with it, and like when you're an adult.
I'm literally advising a client about this exact issue right now, and we've had to have extensive conversations about how you have that talk. Mm-hmm. It's not something that a parent even a little bit in just what he's given, but we went way more extensive than that.
Right.
It was good.
Nobody's going to do anything with it. I'm not buying me a new car with it. I'm not doing anything like that. The money's there. It's yours, sweetie. It's okay. And it may be only $1,000. I don't know what it is. We don't know from this. And sometimes people get it in their head that's a lot of money. It's not immoral and it's not illegal to care for your children. They're minors.
Yep.
It's immoral and to not care for your children.
Or to hand
Right.
somebody who's struggling $1 million.
Yeah, it's not ethical. Now, if she was 23, now you got all kinds of issues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you really don't have any issues. It's her money.
Moral and legal.
It's
yeah,
her
well,
money.
I mean, you can't do that. Then you just have to talk. You could say, you could offer to become her power of attorney until she gets well, but that you would do that for your friend who's 32 also. That's right. You know, and so
At that age, she could voluntarily give you that permission. I don't see a lot of 23-year-olds probably being willing to do that. It depends. It depends on whether she knows she's sick or not. And it depends on whether her mental illness affects her decision-making ability to even be able to agree to something like that, either legally or just practically. Whether or not she's cognizant enough of, oh, no, I need help. Please help me. Take all my money and make sure I'm okay. You would pray that somebody who is mentally ill could do that. Most of them can't.
But you've got a minor here, and they just they have a right to ethical treatment. They have a right to nurturing. They have a right to nutrition. They have a right to not be abused. But they don't have ownership rights as minors. Right. My car by the 3-year-old is not actually a true statement.
Well, and I think we forget sometimes, Dave.
Had this negotiation with one of Rachel's the other day. So.
I imagine. But we've all agreed as a society. We think you should be 16 before you get behind 3,000-pound metal missile headed down the highway. We let's wait till you're 18. Let's wait till you're 21 for some of these. But then we turn around and we just ask kids to make so many heavy decisions. Or what do you want to do when you're 15 years old or 14 years old? Man, they need it.
I know Daniel just want to buy Star Wars toys.
Adults in their lives to help keep them well.
I think Daniel wants to do that at 45.
It's okay to give them information, but not the weight.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to carry this for you. It's going to be here for you when you need it.
Yeah.
I like the analogy of this is a heavy weight. I'm going to carry this for you until you're healthy enough to do it.
Right.
And then maybe don't discuss it again and let her forget about it would be good.
But you don't get to, you're not going to go buy a $50,000 car because grandma gave you $100,000.
Right.
You're not going to do it, and because you're not capable of making that decision. And so someone will be assigned as the custodian until she's 18. There's currently someone. I currently manage the account, but it will transfer to her when she turns 16. I don't know where you got your information, Jane, but something's confused here.
Yeah. 16
hey, let me ask you
didn't
this.
sound right to me either.
If she took that
So
money
was
and
this a
rolled
letter?
I don't know.
Because I
Put it into a
didn't hear
five?
the person talk.
Yeah, probably a letter. Yeah.
Yeah.
29,
Can't
is that a way
ask
to
the
shelter from her
questions.
kid and save it for college?
I don't know what the source of the money is,
Okay.
Yeah.
and whether that's going to be okay.
I need more information about that money.
I just think you just say no.
Yeah, I don't like
You know,
stealing. I don't like
You're doing heroin,
deceiving
and
a
I'm not
kid.
giving you any money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue me. And if you want to, go live somewhere else or whatever, and you want to get a lawyer, then you can do that, I guess. But I'm
job's to
not
love
giving you. I'm not going to assist you in harming yourself.
Yeah.
And misusing this money is harming you and the future you. And I just love you too much to let you do that. And
Yep.
so, another version of that
So we have this issue when we actually have trustees who are parents that have any kind of substantial amount of money in trust for their kids with the full discretion to not distribute till like they're 45 years old, for example, or maybe even older than that, maybe even never. And my advice to them is do not enable bad behavior. Do not reward bad behavior. Don't give them money to buy food. Buy the food and put it in there so that they have it. And if they're letting people come in and take the food and go away, I don't even know if I'd buy them food or not. I would buy food that I see them eat. I would bring them personally food. There are all kinds of different things. But I would not let them buy drugs. I would not let them do things that are going to risk their life or cause them harm. I would not give them the ability to have drug festivals in their house that the trust is paying for, all kinds of stuff like that.
Right.
I like the trustee to have discretion, and that's why on a trust, what a trust is where it's an imaginary box. And so somebody creates this imaginary box with a piece of paper, and then the ownership of all the property goes into the box, and the trustee is the person who figuratively owns and controls the box, and only the trustee can put things in and out of the box. And there's the rules of the box, which are the trust. It's stated out in the trust document itself. So the trustee is the person who owns the box. The trust is the box and the stuff in it. And then the beneficiary are the people for whom you can use the stuff in the box. They actually technically own it, sort of. They get the benefit of it, but the trust itself, the imaginary box, owns it. So the trust acts almost like a human being, and another person makes the decisions for the trust. And so that person, the trustee who makes the decisions, has the discretion depending on how you set up the trust. Sometimes they have to distribute and they don't have a choice, and it's a breach of duty if they don't. But other times it's fully discretionary, and they can put out money for certain things in the way that they determine. So it's very important who you pick to be the trustee, and very important that you have conversations with them about, hey, if I'm passed away, here's what I want you to do with this money, and this is what I want you to do. This is how you use your discretion, and you've really got to trust them. That's why the thing is called a trust. Well, we have trusts that exist under those circumstances to where we have people that they may be a millionaire, but while they're doing drugs over here, they ain't getting to spend their $1 million. And the $1 million is growing over here for who knows what they need. If it gets bad enough they need hospitalization, probably pay for that. Certain things will get paid for. If they are willing to do certain things. They'll pay for housing, school, all kinds of different things. And the better that the person is doing, if they're doing what the trust, the settlor, the person who created the trust, if they're doing what they would want in order for them to be blessed with this money, then the trustee should know, I'll bless them and enable and help them to do good things. But you want a trustee who's not going to enable them to do bad things. You want a trustee that can't be manipulated. Right. You want a trustee who is trustworthy. Otherwise, and you also want a trustee who's not going to spend the corpus of the trust. They're only going to spend the income. So they invest all the money that's in there. So they got $10 million in the trust. They got it invested at an 8% return. That's $800,000 that it's earning. You want to make sure they never spend more than that. Well, let's say it's $1 million at 8%. That's $80,000. So hopefully they're not going to pay out more than $40,000 a year, and they're going to let that keep growing. And then the next year they'll be able to put out 44%. Then the next year they'll be able to put out 48%. Then the next, and not 48%, but 48,000. Yeah. And every year they can do out a little bit more because they're growing the trust. What you don't want is a trustee who just gives away all the thing in the trust. No more money left in the trust. It's empty. You spend it. Like, you don't do that. You keep it invested and you only spend the income.
Right.
That's the ideal for a trust.
Makes total
sense.
Way
it's always there. That's one of the differences between like the Rothschilds versus the Carnegies versus the Rockefellers. One of them has no more money left. Another one has almost all the money in the world.
Right.
And another one is doing very well, and they're all living off the income because it's always well invested in the family foundation. So, yeah.
Always said was we had Uniform Transfer to Minors Act, which is before there were 529s. That's how you save money. It's just all that means is you open a mutual fund in the kid's name, but you're the custodian, just like we're talking about. And parents would always say, well, I don't know. I mean, my kid turns 16 or turns 21. I mean, what if they're doing heroin? I would just go, well, technically, they're 21. It's their money. I guess they've got a well-financed heroin addiction. Or you can just look at them and go, find it. I'm stealing it. That's technically illegal. Right. But, I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to take care of my child.
Right. So that's an interesting phenomenon. Here's the thing. Don't tell them about it.
Right.
And they won't find it, and they won't look for it, and they won't know. I mean, I don't know what I need to look into. Don't
tell them about it until...
I need to look into how does the company notify the kid? Maybe the company notifies the kid and lets the kid get it. I don't know.
Well, you would think mail would come to
it would come to your house. What do? Not give them the mail?
Yeah.
Put it in
They're
a place.
Still a minor. You're still the parent.
I'm talking about when they're 21 and they're on heroin.
Oh. Well, then they're probably not living with you if they're 21 and on
Where's
heroin.
the mail go? And do they get the mail? And do they know where it is? And do they know where the account is? And have they found it? I mean...
Well, if the company doesn't know the last address is your address, then of course you would have it.
I wonder if there's a requirement. So we'll need to look farther into that because maybe they do have a well-financed heroin addiction, and hopefully they don't. But this is also why you've got to teach your kids the Dave Ramsey stuff early, and you've got to embolden your kids to avoid drugs as well.
Right.
Not just, hey, avoid drugs. Go, your life is better than it will be if you're on drugs, and your life is worth it, and here is what you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And if some of you don't like it, screw it. Yeah. I'm doing it anyway. So, no, I'm not going to let you kill yourself because I saved money for you. That's dumb.
That is dumb.
And sometimes the culture is dumb.
The culture is often dumb, not sometimes. The culture is constantly dumb as an ongoing basis. We're trying to affect the culture here on this show. That's why we're playing these clips. That's why we're giving you our input and our thoughts and our prayers and everything that we got on this podcast. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.